My name is Finding, and I'm the producer of Biped. I can try to rationalize the reason behind me accepting the job, but I guess it boils down to several things. First, the game left me a strong first impression. When I first joined the studio, I was given an opportunity to see several incubating projects. It was General Manager Li Shen who showed me into a big meeting room where several projects were on demonstration. Among them was Biped. And I saw that game for the first time, and it really blew me away because the little robots, they didn't even have their faces at the time, but their small motions are so nuanced, unique, and it instantly caught my eyes. The second reason is a pretty personal one. I came from AAA gaming mostly. I worked on a lot of big IPs in my past career. Basically, what that means is I wasn't given the luxury of working on bottom-up incubations for a lot of time. Turns out to be a precious opportunity for my personal growth as well. How can I put it? It has changed so much. I wouldn't be able to recognize it if I were, back in the days when I first touched the first playables. But I guess one easy summary would be it changed from something that is possibly everything from specifically how it looks today. I think it is. I think this deserves like a whole talk on its own, a really lengthy one at that too. But I guess it boils down to how we used logical reasoning in what we call a rational design process. We deducted a lot of things, we made a lot of hard choices, which enabled us to focus on really what we defined as the core fun of the game, be able to concentrate on polishing what was the most interesting and unique moments in the game, which shaped what Biped became today. It's interesting that you talk about this now because I'm recently writing up a piece that has involved a topic very similar to that. To my definition, these days, a really great game must have meaningfully different values, which means that you get to experience something different and for the first time, preferably in this game and in this good game exclusively. We all know that we all talk about life, how life is all about experiencing new things and different things. I think game is probably one of the better media or the vessel, if you will, to convey those, to provide players with a chance to experience something they have never experienced elsewhere. And the tool, which is the game itself, is so versatile that it has a lot of opportunities for us to achieve that. So that was the first standard, I would say, personally. And the second thing I would say is that it has to feel personal. Playing the game has to drive and stir up certain emotions that is exclusive and that is unique to your personal experience. It has to have the ability to make you reflect on your own life or provide insight into the possibilities that you're looking for. So does it make you feel emotional? If it does, then I think it qualifies as a great game. I think Biped, hopefully, is a great answer to those questions because we set out to do something unique and we were faithful throughout the process of making the game to make sure that all the contents that we finally made into the game are distinctively different from what gamers has ever experienced in other games. We have been lucky to find some of the more interesting mechanics, but one thing we can be proud to say that we don't have any filler in the game, to say the least. Aku and Scylla, they're motion driven, like one of those Seiko watches in the 80s, from the 80s. So as long as players are controlling Aku and Scylla and make them move around, their energy is perpetual. They will be there forever. My experience with Biped is nearly ever mine alone, because it's always a shared experience with somebody that I recall having fun with. I guess it really comes with Biped. It as a very special case. It really comes down to who you play with. Hence, the answer to the second question. My expectation would be that when a gamer is done with the core or the meat of the game, he gets to find somebody, find a new partner, find some new friends, and to replay the game with. And that experience will give him a totally new perspective and story with the game. Biped is never made to be a game that you speedrun or finish or try to beat under a time limit, but rather for you to enjoy the experience depending on who you play with. As a matter of fact, I've been around many show floors where we demonstrate the game, when we invite a lot of players to play, to have their hands on the game. And many situations reveal the fact that Biped has the secret power of showing all the inner empathetic sides of many people. Being like not an outspoken personality myself, I find myself helplessly becoming more proactive in communicating, talking to my partner, getting more emotional than usually, definitely trying to make friends, basically, with a stranger. Given the context of playing Biped together, the kind of dynamic that is automatically and it is naturally triggered from the chemistry between the two players. So my expectation would be that you and your friends, you're going to have to rediscover yourself after playing Biped. There is one particular thing that our team is very proactively looking into. Well, you can call that level editing tools or level creation tools. Because as a matter of fact, the latter part, a big portion of the latter part of the game, we kind of shifted from our original standard pipeline of production to a more modular way of making new levels, which inherently enabled us to create more levels for players to play. But the modularized way of making also reminded us that there should be, down the line, a way to create a certain set of tools which are easy and accessible enough for anybody to be able to create levels. And if you're familiar with Mario Maker or Dreams, you must know the imagination and the ability of players to come up with crazy stuff is just only the sky is the limit. So we as game developers of Biped, we're super eager to see that happen. So players will ultimately be the judge of how Biped will do in the end, but we're really we're fingers are crossed. We're really looking forward to be able to produce the tool and provide the tool and deliver that to the hands of the players.